All right, so this is it. I think this is the last time he's going to do this. I believe it this time. I've talked to Grumpy and I believe it, but I'm very curious. This video is long. It is my final Star Citizen video from Grumpy Eye, who's, people have made jokes, but, he has... I mean, I think the jokes are acceptable. He has said this many times now. I know we all need to clickbait on YouTube. It's part of what YouTube forces us to do. But it looks like he's done. And yeah, so let's see what this video is all about.
Hey guys, it's me. The most toxic Star Citizen YouTuber,
True.
the scammer, the liar, the
Yep.
straw man, the crybaby, the Andrew Tate of Star Citizen, the guy
He had to write it all down. All the things people call him, he had to write it down because the list is so long.
that said that he stopped playing Star Citizen, but he continued making videos on Star Citizen. How dare he? It's also me, the White Knight, the CAG's cockrider, the drama queen, the guy that plays the both sides.
Oh my God, I can relate to this so much. Because it's all the same with me.
The clickbaity guy that makes a lot of revenue on Star Citizen content, etc., etc. But it's also me, the Grumpy Eye, the guy that, like, the friendly Serb that was, well, always here to inform you on a game that you loved, and
is a human being, which I think a lot of people forget.
try to make you smile from time to time. So yeah, this is my final video on Star Citizen, and I wanted to make this one because I didn't want to. I just wanted to explain myself to you guys and why I'm not going to make any more videos on Star Citizen. I didn't want to leave it at the video that I made that was like a stream clip where I just raged and completely like went up in flames. Greedy motherfuckers, that's what you are.
Oh, he's got the
So,
PTO in the background.
I am done
Yep.
with defending, like, right now on my channel. There's a premiere of a video of a podcast of me defending the game and saying that the game is not pay to win. The fuck is this shit? I am done defending this game. What the fuck are we talking about? What is this? Like, is this a game anymore? Yeah, it's a game of fucking how to get into your wallet even more.
Not
Honestly,
wrong.
I just want to sell my...
Dude, not wrong. That's really what it feels like right now, is that the entire focus of the forward-facing people, I know, like, we're very lucky here on the stream to have Elliot or Lars or Luke or DJ, sometimes Torsten, right? Like, the people who actually are supposed to be behind the scenes making the game fun. All those people we're very lucky to have here. They're not supposed to be forward-facing people. You're forward-facing people like Xylo, Galactica, Jared, Jake. Most communications coming from them, official ones, are all focused on just getting new players, keeping current players engaged, selling spaceships, and so on, right? Most. I think some of those people are better than others, but I think that generally there is this initiative that's been going on over the last year or two that is 100% focused on player acquisition and not giving any care about the current status of the game, the current sentiment of the community, of players who they already got their money from and aren't spending anymore, and so on and so forth, right? It's all about getting more players because at the beginning, we all are excited until we actually figure out what's going on.
My account at this point. I don't fucking care. I don't care what happens with the channel. I don't fucking care what happens with the YouTube, the Twitch, the fucking everything.
Yeah, and I don't know if Grumpy shared on camera or not, and I don't know if he's comfortable with me even saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Grumpy's got a lot going on in his life, not related to Star Citizen. So all the extra stuff, when that stuff's being said about you on the internet, I'll move my cam a little bit because I didn't think he was going to stay here on this for too long, but he's on it longer than I expected. It starts to affect you more, and I can only imagine that frustrations with the company, frustrations with your content, in the last few weeks / few months, like YouTube views tanking because nobody cares about Star Citizen. Twitch views, same thing. So nobody's cares right now. So you put in effort to make a video and nobody watches it, and it's just, it all piles up, and you're just like, dude, I don't care. Like, he literally just said, I don't care what happens with my channel. When you know in reality, of course he does, right? But in the moment, it's just like, it's all building up.
I don't care. Just like fucking get me out of this, honestly. And I wanted to like explain and express my emotions a bit better, I guess.
Mike, that's a terrible excuse. Bro, you have no idea what it's like to be in his shoes, where I do. Okay? There are no tolerable excuses. You don't know who he is. You don't know anything about him. You've created an opinion about him based off of something he posted on the internet. Everybody does things like that with me too. And I am not the person who you frame me to be, because you don't know me. None of you do. Even the people who I interact with the most don't actually know me for the person who I am. Only my closest friends and family do, right? I am who I am in real life, and on the internet. I don't change my personality. I'm not like a completely different person, but we're all way more complex than that, right? Than our opinions on the internet. So it's like, it's just ridiculous. So the idea, all I'm saying is the reason he doesn't care is because I think all these things are starting to build up. It doesn't matter if I know things about him. You still need to be professional about what you're. No, you don't, dude. This is 2023, where people who show their meat on YouTube don't get banned and are praised for it. Make millions of dollars. You don't need there's no professional anymore. This isn't a real job. Stop pretending that this is a real job. This isn't a real job. Some people take it, seriously and treat it like a real job, but it's not a real job. I'm just sitting here with a microphone talking to a bunch of screen names on the internet. It's not a real job. Chill out. Okay? What are you doing? Let me just explain to you why I said that. I get to press go live on Twitch or post a video and post it live on YouTube and just throw my opinions out there and hear what comes back. And that could be like really fun and really interesting and really cool. It can also be really crappy, right? It could be one or the other, depending on your opinion and if people agree with you or don't. But no matter what, overall, it's been really a really good time and really, really fun. So that's it. It's really like that simple. I don't know where we're going. I just see a lot of hate towards Grumpy, and you don't have to like the way he frames his content. You don't have to like his content. But I do think that there's a lot of attacking of the person based off of their opinion about a video game on the internet. Kind of weird. Just saying.
So this is that video. So at least 2/3 of the community around Star Citizen is going to be fucking happy that they're not going to see my face anymore.
Absolutely.
Well, at least not until something changes for the better.
Oh, all right. Okay. Grumpy, come on, man. So he just opened the door.
And yeah, so let me roll the intro for the last time, and yeah, let's talk about it.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
The year is 2012.
I mean, dude, I did the same thing 2-3 years ago, where I was like, if they don't do anything significant, I'm done. And they did some stuff, and it was somewhat significant, and I was like, okay. And then I realized that I just like streaming, and I like streaming Star Citizen and talking about it. And I kind of did change the way I was making my content. I wasn't doing the same things, but I've had my moments where I was like, damn, I want to quit. This really sucks. I think he's been using the bait a little bit.
Barack Obama was serving his first term as president of the United States. Blizzard has released Diablo 3. Microsoft launched Windows 8, and CD Projekt Red has released the enhanced edition of Witcher 2. But for a ton of us from the gaming community, nothing was as big as the Kickstarter of Star Citizen back then. And just like that, Star Citizen has raised $2 million out of $500,000 that they asked for.
Jeez.
The Kickstarter was a great success. It was a great time to be.
This is a violent crime to everybody who was there back then to let us know how old we are.
Be a gamer, because we saw that there were still some developers that are still trying to deliver great games, push the boundaries of what is possible in game development, and do all that without looking like they're trying to make a quick buck off of their community. And that is why at the time we all loved the idea of Star Citizen not having a publisher. The promises were amazing, a rich universe
Until CIG became a publisher.
Focused on epic space adventure, trading and dogfighting in first person, single player mode that was available offline or online, drop in or drop out co-op play, persistent universe hosted by CIG or moddable multiplayer hosted by you the players, no subscriptions and no pay to win. Now a ton of people will say that the original campaign was actually for Squadron 42, but that is simply not true. Squadron 42 was supposed to be a single player game mode of Star Citizen, and that information is still available on the original Kickstarter page, which is legally speaking the only thing that matters. Those were the times, but the times have changed, and the scope of the game has changed, and CG as a developer and as a company has changed a lot. From 20 people that were working on Star Citizen back in 2012,
he's like an actually good YouTuber.
they grew to a AAA studio-sized company
Good
with
editor,
1,200 developers
good script
working for
writer.
them. And they all love saying that the only constant in game development is change. And while it may be true, the only constant that we as the backers could ever see was lies, or should I say big promises and then under-delivering on those promises, or not delivering anything at all. The only constant was also calling the backers roadmap watchers, or even noise, and then continuing to break promises even more, until they banned all of the roadmap or scheduling related questions in their Q&As. And in the end, they completely got rid of the roadmap in its entirety. But some of you may say that the mistreatment of the community happened gradually. And you will be right. They weren't so direct and militant back in the day. So we can say that the only constant with this game's development is overpromising, under-delivering, and the three residing family members that are on the board of directors: Chris, Aaron, and Sandy Roberts. 3 out of 6. Yeah, and I've tried documenting all the broken promises in the 2 years that I have been making videos on Star Citizen. And you can watch in-depth videos on this channel or on my second channel where I mostly post unfiltered clips.
That for me is still one of the things that I've always just been like, this is problematic, you know?
From my streams. But since you're not gonna do that, let me do a recap of all the broken promises and all of the BS that CIG has shoveled down our throats in the past 11 years. Starting out strong with the CitizenCon 2016 and the sandworm that made everyone lose their shit. Not only that we didn't get the sandworm in 2023, but we still don't have this, or even this. But hey, it was a great time to be a gamer. Next on the list is gonna be the Theaters of War. Why make 2 games when you can make 3? But explain to the backers that you're actually making a single game without even making that game.
How did he make this fun? How did he make this? I feel like this is a game and we're having fun.
And next up on the list will of course be the fauna, because one sandworm was not enough. Not only that in 2017 they were showing creatures flying around the planet, but in 2014 they announced pets for all of you backers that want to have a space Tamagotchi. Tamagotchi in space? Spaceagotchi? Staragotchi? More like Staragacha. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe
do you want to customize your overpriced ship? Well, you can do that by giving it a name that you like. Well, I mean, you can do that with some of the ships, right? At least you can customize the paint job with hex codes that were announced back in 2016. I mean, you still can't, but you can buy an overpriced paint job for your ship in the store. But you can still customize the interior of your ship, right?
Oh, dude. No. Right? I wish.
Right? Well, even though you can't customize most of the ships to your liking, you will be happy to hear that back in 2022, John Crew from CAG said that they have not been releasing any ships or vehicles without their intended features in the past 4 years, so it's gonna be 5 years now. I mean, except the Hull C, they just got released to the PTU without the tractor beam or the changes to the economy that are necessary for that ship to work, and the Argo Raft, the Drake Mule, the Origin 400i, like, exploration, like, come on, Crusader MSR,
keep going,
the data running, Drake Corsair, again, exploration,
yep,
Tumbril Nova, Terrapin, exploration, Reclaimer, no hull munching, but it got like released before the salvage. The RSI Phoenix, like luxury transport, like come on,
luxury transport, great idea.
Touring and exploration, the Origin 315P, the Reliant Zen Science, the Reliant Mako reporting, 890 jump, luxury transport. The Kari Blue, the Caterpillar, which is supposed to be modular, but it's not. And like, we don't have modularity, even though we should have modularity. Even the Kari was supposed to be like a completely modular ship, etc., etc. So yeah, that's a short list of all the ships that they released in the past 5 years.
This is a really
without
good video.
Their features. But hey, instead of whining about all the ships and vehicles being featureless, not having...
See, here's the deal. All this shows me is he's a good content creator, and he needs to create content on things that he likes. Right? If he made content on things that he likes, he would pop off. I think the fact that he's made content on something that he hates, like actually hates, is why everyone has created the opinions that he feels about him. But if you actually look at like his, you know, comedic timing, his sense of humor, it's all there. The editing's great.
NPC crew, explosive decompression, engineering gameplay, or AI blades, we can focus on the best features that were announced during CitizenCon back in 2016, like smuggling, escort missions, repair missions, covert operations, rescue missions, and farming, which were all supposed to be released in 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. Oh, Grumpy, don't be so grumpy, don't be so harsh on them. They've changed, they've clearly changed since 2016. Have they? Really? Let's see. In 2017, not only did they have sold us the lie that soon we will be getting actual fauna in the game, but they also sold us a picture of something that looks like Area 18 and the planet of ArcCorp, but really isn't. They also told us that they have a tool that will procedurally generate districts and landing zones. Not just the exterior, but the interior too. So in other words, they made it seem like you could roam around the buildings of ArcCorp. Well, that never happened. CitizenCon 2018 brought us the full persistence, which we got just now in 2023, but it doesn't really work as intended.
What did he say?
Now in 2023, never happened. CitizenCon 2018 brought us the full persistence, which
CitizenCon 2018 brought us the full persistence. This was them just laying out a timeline with no dates. So, no. You know, I think I've agreed with 99% of things so far. But they did not say that full persistence was coming anytime soon. If you look, organization system was above this. It's just not true. Mike's still defending CIG. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's... all I'm doing is stating facts. This isn't defending anything. This is just saying what's true and what's not. Oh,
we got just
joke.
now
I got him,
in 2023,
guys.
But it doesn't really work as intended. If anything, it works like it does in any other game that has persistence. But that is
Once
not
you
all.
get clapped,
This is the first time the CG officially announced server meshing for the next year. Well, that never happened. Now, CitizenCon 2019 brought us yet another promise of server meshing in 2020. They also announced amazing tech called Quanta that is supposed to make the whole game feel more alive because it was supposed to regulate the economy as well as the resource availability and the NPC behavior across the verse. Gameplay-wise, we saw an infiltration mission that is not in the game, that was set in a facility that is not in the game, and then the player got attacked by NPCs that had no issues flying in the atmosphere, even though it was was obvious that the developers were flying those NPC ships. And in the end, the player went through a jump gate straight to Pyro. Well, that never happened. CitizenCon 2021 brought us yet another promise of server meshing happening by the end of next year, more talks about Quanta, and yet another infiltration mission, this time on Pyro. But
Jerry, Seaside Sandy's in chat who worked there, said, yeah, my year, it's all fake.
It wasn't just an infiltration mission, because you could choose in which way you wanted to approach the mission. You could be sneaky, or you can go in guns blazing.
I'm so tired of these
that
demos.
never happened. CitizenCon 2022 was more tame, and it seemed like they were showing us things.
This is how they need to do CitizenCon. Please, I can't believe we're back to the same old bullshit. This was the best CitizenCon. Not this part, but last year's CitizenCon was by far the best. It's just this crap is still
that
the
they
problem.
are actually working on right now, and that we will get in the game in the upcoming patches. So this CitizenCon brought us the new EVA mechanics, player traversal system, the new AI, the new...
Bro, that's a wild take. Okay, explain to me how it's a wild take when everything at CitizenCon 2022 was just like, hey, these are things that we're working on. None of them were demos that were exclusively made for CitizenCon to keep hype going and to, you know, hype up the next big capital ship that they're selling at CitizenCon, right? Every CitizenCon, it was huge ships like the Kraken or the Pioneer, so on and so forth, right? 890 jumps, all that stuff. It was, these are features that we're working on. That's all it was. Now, it was no different in the sense of all the features that they were working on and showing at CitizenCon 2022, none of which outside maybe master modes being in experimental modes as a thing, or the vaulting and mantling right now. Those are the two things that we saw there last year that literally just made it in.
Flight system, the completely reworked mobiGlass, and most importantly, it brought us a new and never been done before interaction system where the players will be able to interact with the items around them by pressing F on the keyboard. Well, obviously none of that ever happened, but at least you can count on CAG to release a patch every 3 months, right?
God, that year sucked. That was the worst. I think that was worse than this year.
By now, you might understand that it was a combination of things that happened that led me to a point where I don't want to play or cover Star Citizen on my YouTube channel. And this is me just crashing the service. I didn't even talk about the developer that apparently played Squadron 42 back in 2016, I'm gonna say.
Leadpipe asks, have you as the community team been able to play through a single mission on Squadron 42 yet? I have been able to, but I have chosen not
A
to.
classic.
I have played through every mission because I come from QA and it was my job to do so.
I didn't even talk about them making a video series on server meshing this year, at the start of this year, and making just one part of it without releasing any other parts, because the people, the community was outraged because it was...
But don't worry, we're getting the audio ISC part 2. We got the mission making part 2. We're getting all the part 2s for things that nobody gives a shit about.
obvious that they just started like meeting up and talking about server meshing internally. So yeah, it's a combination. And if you remember, at the start of this year, I said that this year is gonna be a make it or break it kind of a year for most of us, me included. And yeah, it broke me. But that is not the reason why I don't want to cover Star Citizen anymore. So let me tell you about the actual main reasons why I don't want to cover this game on this channel anymore.
Okay.
At the start of the video, I have said that CAG has changed as a company, and that is understandable. With the growth that they have seen in the past 3 years, it is obvious that they have to make more money to continue working on the project and to continue growing. But there are other ways to make money without monetizing every single bit of your game and locking things behind the paywall. If CAG had put in some work and gave us some of the promised features and some new and exciting game loops, and if they fixed the issues that are plaguing the game for years, they would make more money without having to revert to the scummy and scammy marketing tactics that the other AAA companies are using.
Dude, how can they not look at 318 the launch of 318 and the amount of hype, not around the Star Citizen community, but around the gaming community altogether. The amount of money they would have made this year if that launch was clean would have been astronomical. Astronomical, in my opinion. They would have killed it. So how are we not putting 2 and 2 together and going, holy shit, if we make the game, we'll make a lot of money because people might actually want to play it. And I guarantee you they don't talk about player I see player retention being typed in chat, but it's concurrency. I bet you they're not going to talk very much about that because I can't imagine that concurrency was very good towards the end of 318 and the cycle of 319. I can't imagine it was very high. Maybe, but most likely not.
It's like when they were selling land claims just to give up on that decision after the community got outraged. They could have listened to the community once more, but they didn't.
Wait. Did you say they stopped selling land? Because you could still buy that shit in the store right now.
That are plaguing the game for years, they would make more money without having to revert to the scummy and scammy marketing tactics that the other AAA companies are using. Just like when they were selling land claims just to give up on that decision after the community got outraged.
Yeah, they didn't give up on that decision. I'm 99.9% sure that they did not give up on that decision. Let's go all and then search. Maybe. I'm 99% sure they're still there. Can't buy them alone, but they come with the Pioneer. You could buy them alone for a while after. I swore I still saw them. For a very long time. Maybe not, though. Maybe things have changed. I will continue to scroll while the video plays. Maybe I'll find it.
They could have listened to the community once more, but they didn't. Instead, it seems like the bigger they get, the less they care about the people that are making them so big.
I will say, though, that they didn't stop right away. Like, it was being sold for a very, very long time.
So currently on the game store you can see that they're selling the starting money. Not only that, but they're also selling armor sets and weapons that you will lose upon death, which they don't tell you when you're buying those items. And we have no idea if they're even working on any kind of in-game insurance for the things that you paid for. They're also selling ships that aren't even in production, which we all knew. But the worst part is that now and then they're making it look like some of them are actually in production, just to take them off the progress tracker after the sales are done. That happened with the Banu Merchantman, that happened with the 600i rework, and it also happened with the RSI Polaris. Some of those unreleased ships have been sold for 11 years straight, but they are still in the concept stages. And in the end, when they want to boost the sales of a ship, they give you a loaner that costs twice as much. Just like they did with the RSI Galaxy, when they gave the players the Carrack as a loaner, just to ensure that they will make enough money during the sales. And you can say
that one I don't know if I buy. So the whole idea that the Carrack is the loaner for an exploration ship, right? Or like a similar sized ship, I don't know if that was a reason to sell it. I always think that it's a good idea to basically think that they're really stupid instead of malicious, because I think that that's what they are. I think they're really stupid, and some of them are really bad at their jobs, right? That's pretty much where I stick with them, is I think that they don't know their community. They don't know their audience, and the only thing that's on their mind is putting out another ship because just draw a picture and we'll buy it, right? I'm pretty sure they're just dumb, but both things are bad. Right? Because how have we not looked at, like upper management not looked at these stupid bad decisions that people have made consistently and we still have the same people making them, right?
This is not a problem since you can buy most of those ships and items in the game. And while that may be true, this is a classic pay-to-progress tactic that other companies are using to boost their revenue.
It's like a mobile game
Yes, you can buy all the ships in the game, but with the constant progression wipes, you're not going to grind for all of those ships and items.
And bro, mobile games have better gameplay than this.
Every time a wipe occurs. And that is why a ton of players start feeling the fear of missing out and start buying ships on the store. Actually, Grumpy, selling ships is their main funding bundle, Grumpy. How do you not know that? Well, yes.
His nerd voice.
Sure. But why sell armor and items that you can lose upon death? Why sell manuals for modders when modding is not a thing and it's probably never going to be a thing?
Okay, the modding thing is valid. Selling money is insane. But the armor is the least bad because they've spoken about that they intend to change it. But at the same time, it's so bad because they intend to change it and people don't actually know what they're buying. All these things are terrible. Just the armor one is the least terrible, but they're still so bad. Private servers, no chance. And the fact that they're still selling this is so confusing to me, right? Mike, the business model of selling stuff is a capital infusion, so they will keep infusing their bank account. What this means is they have a burn rate that does not fit with running large enough servers to run the code well. Okay. Whatever you say. But in the end, there's ways to make money, and they're choosing to do ones that negatively affect their game when they finish. That's their choice, and they're going to have to live with those decisions, and players are going to recognize them at some point. Players are going to recognize the choices that they made to keep, to avoid the burn, and it will affect this game. And if they don't shift, if they don't make a change, if they don't, the beauty of all this is they haven't even started making the game yet. So they have an opportunity still to resolve a lot of these problems because they haven't even started making the game. So it's like you're saying there's a chance. There might still be a chance that this game isn't absolutely terrible, but most likely it's going to be if they keep going at the rate that they're going and not giving a shit the way they have. That's it.
Why sell in-game currency for a game that we're testing? Why sell paints and why sell merch and everything else that they're selling on their website? Remember back in 2012 when they said no subscriptions? Well, there are two of them that you can choose from. Granted, you don't have to subscribe, but they sure as hell are trying to make you want to subscribe. Yep. On the other hand, we have the price adjustments for older ships, and somehow the prices always go up. Also, sometimes they take out the essential features of a ship that they already sold, just to sell other more expensive ships with the same feature.
What's he talking about?
That happened with the Cuddy Red. They took out the respawn capability of the Cuddy so they could sell the JPEG of the Apollo and the currently available Carrack. And yes, the Cutlass Red was advertised to be a respawn point. You can see it on the website, just fucking Google it. But not all of the ships are finalized. In fact, none of them are. So each and every one of them needs to be either brought up to the gold standard or completely reworked. And somehow that always makes them better. Sometimes they get features that they never were supposed to get, such as the medical bay on the 600i. But hey, the gold standard is not the final standard for ships. There's gonna be plenty more of them. And in 3 years, they did a single gold standard update. 99% of ships have 99% of their interiors not utilized.
I mean, the whole gold standard thing, again, it's how bad are you at communication? So what ends up happening here is you have people like Grumpy, people like myself, and people like others, get reactionary on things when they say them. And you're like, gold standard, that means it's done. And that means it's going to be the last one. When in reality, that's just like some dumbass internal term that they throw a bunch of developers in front of a camera. They say some dumbass internal term to a bunch of people who they're supposed to keep it simple for us, and then they make it complicated, right? Like, there's not going to be gold, platinum, diamond. Like, this isn't a fucking rewards program at a casino. They're always going to be changing the standard and upgrading the ships, so they say. But then they gave themselves 500 ships to make, right? so it's going to be impossible to keep up with. But the idea of them taking old ships and improving them, why are we hating on this? I'm not really sure. I think we're hating on it because they continue to draw spaceships and actually deliver some of those instead of fixing the old ones and bringing the ones that you paid for into the game, right? I don't think it has anything with the idea of gold standard. I think it has everything to do with backlog, still selling concept ships, so on and so forth, right? And it's also gold usually means finished, so it just got confusing for everybody, and then everybody has kind of used that as a meme. So for me personally, whenever I bring up gold standard, I'm just fucking joking around because it's just stupid to call it a gold standard. But I think when you really think about it, everyone's probably fine with them doing that with the ships. Like, it just makes sense. But what Grumpy's talking about now is they haven't even done it.
At all.
You know?
If you take the Carrack as an example, you can fly it, you can shoot the turrets, and you can respawn in it. You can't interact with the rest of the ship. It is the same for all the bigger and medium-sized ships. And Star Citizen currently has 200 ships, so you do the math and try to see how long it will take them to rework all the ships or bring them up to the gold standards while working on the new ships and the ships that we already had as JPEGs and all of that, and it's just fucking mind-boggling. It's never gonna happen. And somehow, they're always gonna get better. And somehow you will always want to buy the rework because now it's actually good. And on top of that, they aren't letting us use the hex codes so they can make money from selling.
I mean, dude, I don't play League, but every time they balance something in League, like I guess this is sort of a similar example. Maybe it's kind of off. But every time they do a balance, you're going to want to play a different champion that you didn't play before, right? Because now that one's overpowered. I imagine that's what's going to happen here. So, like, I don't know, but that's, anytime that there's game balance, a new meta gets created. And the problem with this situation is you're sort of forced currently. It feels like you're forced to buy the ships for real money instead of earning them in game, because the way you earn them in game is by learning 3,000 workarounds for 40,000 different bugs, most of which are just backspace and start again, change servers, respawn, restart your computer, delete your shader folder, and others. But it is what it is. Gamers don't adapt, they whine. What? What the fuck are you, what do we even adapt to here? I think you're talking about balancing, but in this case, what are we supposed to adapt to? I don't know if that applies to this.
Selling paints on the store. And if you still don't understand what I'm saying here, this is what you need to know. Ship features are being decided by the marketing team, and you can hear it clearly here.
Switching these beds out, is that standard with any Apollo?
It's just the tier 3 ones at the moment. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we're gonna plan on that. That's one for the marketing department to decide on.
Now on the
Ooh, okay. So that's interesting too, right? So Ray Raycroft, the guy who posted on Reddit about leaving, getting fired or whatever from CIG, I imagine that was the team he was on, right? So now it like comes full circle. That whole drama that Cameral kind of started is, I imagine that he was part of that team.
On the other hand, they claim to be the most transparent company out there, yet they removed the roadmap. They don't allow any questions that are asking how much is left for a feature or a ship to be released, and they have a progress tracker.
Oh my god, he's showing himself getting Knight Ridered. That's kind of funny. But listen, I got a serious question. How many years do we have to be into this game's development before we're allowed to ask when? Because it's gotten to the point where it's kind of fucking stupid. I know no when questions because the answer is usually I don't know. But at what point does it become like unacceptable to be like, so, I bought this thing 10 years ago. Hello?
That doesn't even show any progress at all. You can spend hours looking at it and you will still not be able to decipher if a feature is even close to being finished or released. Don't get me started on...
I don't care. I don't care about that. I think the way they're doing the roadmap is the way Every other company does it, and I think it's totally fine. At least release view. I don't look at progress tracker. Progress tracker's fucking stupid. But the release view, I think, is what every other company does, and I don't see any problem with it. They just say what they're working on next. You get to focus on the next patch. I thought that was a great decision. Anybody who's knocking on it, I hard disagree.
On Squadron 42 because we have a monthly report on stuff that has been worked on, but we never know how much is left. Speaking of progress, after 12 years of development, we still don't know what this game is supposed to be, because less than 15% of the game is actually finished. And again, you do the math. 15%, 12 years. How long will it take them to finish the game? And in the end, the thing that was the final straw for me was locking the PTU cycle behind the paywall. And if you have no idea what the PTU is, it's an alpha of the alpha. It's a test universe where the players can test out the new and old features and report the issues so they don't make it into the live version of the game. And they locked that behind a paywall too. If you didn't invest $25,000 into the game, for only $10 more, you can test out the new features and play around with your new.
We'll see. Did they patch last night? Did they go to another wave with the patch last night or no? That's a big question. I actually forgot to check that. I never looked at the notes. I just jumped in and played Tank Royale, which I didn't enjoy very much. Not yet. Interesting. Okay.
New ship that you paid for and have been waiting on for years.
That's a
now,
bad
this
look.
is not even scratching the surface on how greedy they are. And even if they were the greediest studio out there, they could make it up to the community in a ton of different ways. But CAG does not care about that, and it shows. There is no support for the community or the content creators. Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, and other AAA studios give back to their community in some sense. They try to incentivize them and reward them for watching content creators on Twitch and YouTube by giving them personalized Twitch drops. They give access to beta versions of their new releases or patches to the content creators and ask for their honest opinions. CAG does not do any of that.
No.
Overwatch developers are known to have podcasts with content creators where they would talk about their plans and about the issues that are currently plaguing the game. The only thing that's
I mean, they can't do that here because Jared has to get them to you know, make a box of med pens.
CAG does that I know of are a few
Sick.
ship giveaways they did through some content creators that.
As far as I'm aware, we can't have any devs to speak about Star Citizen. And the Desync podcast, I'm incredibly uncomfortable with the conversations that were going on that I was like not initiating, because I was like, are we going to get in trouble here for this? Because like we didn't intend to speak about it at all. And, you know, it was constantly being brought up. And, you know, it was just like, fuck, well, what are we supposed to talk about? You know? Why be afraid? Not for me. But for the dev, for Burks, like I don't care. But at the same time, it's yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's stupid. It's just one of these things where they're trying to manage everything, and they're doing. I think they're doing a very poor job. I don't know what else to say. It's they're over managing community expectations, overselling the game, getting mad when we get mad because they oversold everything. You know, the way they frame everything, dude, like, you know, just even something simple as more recently the UGF bunkers, making it sound like they were going to do the interiors when in reality they didn't. It kind of sucks, right? But they really made it sound that way, showed the interiors when they were talking about it as if that was a part of the rework, and it wasn't. And to not even understand what, like, when you make videos, you have to recognize how will your community react to them. What will they think about those things? And I don't know, man. I think there's a huge disconnect between them and us. And I think there's also a disconnect between us and them, where we have to realize that I don't believe they're making this game for us. I think Every developer at the company is making the game for Chris, and Chris is going to do whatever he thinks is right. He may hear feedback from a streamer, from a YouTube video, from a Reddit post, but we are not a part of this process in a teamwork-like way. I don't think at all. I think we are a tool to get Chris to make the game that he wants to make. But I don't really feel like we're a part of the process in that way, based off of some of the decisions that they make. I think they go to like a Bar Citizen and everybody loves them because the only people that would go there are people who are still really passionate and love the game. I had a great time at Bar Citizen Orlando. It was super fun. But I think if you go there and you hear how happy everybody is and how everybody's loving the project, you might forget that most people are sitting there going, wonder what happened with that scam game Star Citizen.
They like,
you know?
But most of the ship giveaways content creators make are financed out of their own pockets or they get sponsored by their viewers. And we all know that CAG developers are watching the videos and they hang out in the streams. And some of them hang out in my streams, but I know that the rest of them are watching my videos because most of the bugs that I have showcased in my PTU videos were fixed right after I made them. Did I get anything in return? No, not even access to the Evo. Even though I have reported and pushed them to fix the most game-breaking bugs, the kind of bugs that get deleted off of the issue console because they're that bad. So the devs remove the reports because they don't want anyone to exploit them. As an example, I was single-handedly crashing the servers when we got the inventory system feature in the game. They added the area too cluttered message because of me. When they added PES, I was destroying the servers by crashing two.
What? Do you really think you were the only person doing these tests, Grumpy?
C2s full of cargo into each other.
Guys, smile in chat if it was also you that were trying some of these things. You know, I think everybody was trying to break the servers
over a small crater, so they added the server cleanup system. What I'm saying is, and I don't want to be modest here at all, if I wasn't there to push the game to its limits or to make those issue council reports more visible by making videos on them, those game-breaking issues could have still been in the game. And don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for anything here. I don't care. But the fact that I'm the guy that needs to pay $10 to access the test universe to test the fucking game is just bonkers. And the fact...
Okay. I think I understand really where he's going here is, and this I believe to be true. I don't know what the requirements are to get into Evocati, okay? And some of the people in there are really great. Some of them are not. Some of them don't even play. Hello, you know, I don't play very much in there. I have been more lately, but in recent years, I haven't had the opportunity to because all the playtests are when I was working in the casino, whatever. I've explained this a billion times. But I know for a fact that there are plenty of people who contribute so much and probably more than a lot of people in Evocati. And those players are not being invited in. So there is absolutely like a weird disconnect, maybe like reporting issue or data gathering or some problem that is not communicating, you know, who's probably good. I don't know how much Grumpy did. It does look like he's done a lot. And I think there's something wrong there. And that proves it isn't about testing, it's about money. Not necessarily. I don't think you can just go right to that conclusion. I don't think that's what it is. Because I don't think that they're going to... I think they lose more money in a bunch of random people downloading the game and looking at a ship and being on a server not testing than they would if they got the right people. Like, they're not doing it on purpose is what I'm saying. It's an accident. Something's wrong in the process. So it's a process issue that's broken. I don't think... You're implying that it's something that's done on purpose. I'm not. I'm implying that it's something that they can fix and resolve, and there might be some issue in reporting when it comes to who deserves to be in an Evo and who doesn't, and who deserves to be in a Wave 1 and who doesn't. Because I know a lot of people who played a lot of hours that are not subbed and have not spent 20K on the game and are not in Wave 1 or 2. And I think that is also weird. You know what I mean? So content creators, fuck it, man. You can easily get the $10. You know, just say, hey guys, I want to get into Wave 1. Somebody's going to give you $10. Most communities are super generous to their favorite streamers, right? So the money shouldn't matter to a content creator to get into Wave 1. But for the regular player who is doing the due diligence, it is probably very demoralizing to have played hundreds of hours of Star Citizen 318 and 319 and not be invited into Wave 1 just because you're poor. And not poor. I'm being sensationalist here because you don't want to spend more money than you should on a fucking video game that has no end in sight. You know what I mean? So to you know, be upset about that from Grumpy's perspective is, I get it. You know, I think his approach here was like incredibly egotistical and super weird, but I think I know where he's coming. But yeah, Pores, go play No Man's Sky.
That I know of a ton of other players that are maybe even like better than me in testing out the game, and they still need to pay $10 is just fucking bonkers. Most of the game's pillars are still not there, and they're still working on tools that will help them to make things faster after 12 years of development. And you can say that PES is groundbreaking, and it was almost amazing for sure, but it is in no way groundbreaking from a gamer's perspective. There is a plethora of games that already do the same thing, or they have the same thing. DayZ and Space Engineers, to name a few. And now you'll say that those games are not MMOs. Sure. But Star Citizen isn't.
Yo, where'd he get that skin? Dude, how much do you think this skin is? This is easily a $100 skin. This is a legendary skin, 100%.
Say that those games are not MMOs, sure, but Star Citizen isn't an MMO either. And we still get a teaspoon of actual gameplay every other year, and CG claiming that they will be able to produce moons and systems in a matter of weeks with this new amazing planet tech, which by the way they said back in 2015, is just laughable at this point, especially considering that Pyro was supposed to be
That's definitely one of those situations where it's stupidity and not malice. Is internally they could press a button and create a planet. Like, it's there, but it's not feature complete. They still have to like paint everything and do all the dumb shit that they do to make it look very photogenic on Reddit, but they, you know, there's no gameplay there or anything, and it still takes time to do all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure they can click a button and make the sphere that is the canvas that they will paint on. So when they say that out loud, they're telling you what it's like to be a game developer, and they're not telling you what it's like, what you need to hear as the consumer, right? I think that's what we've run into over all these years. Yes, I think communication from the community team, communication from the marketing team, communication from the global video production team are doing things way more maliciously than when a developer comes on camera and speaks about their work. And I think all too often do we lump the developer speaking in with the roadmap watchers, the letter for the chairmans, the playable now kind of stuff. They're two very different things. And it's very unfortunate for the devs that honestly, you know, 99% of them did nothing wrong, get hate and shit for the stuff some dumbass in marketing did to, you know, some fucking mobile game mentality bullshit.
In 2019. Yet somehow, every year brings us 10 to 20 new ships and vehicles and plenty of new ways to spend our money. So in other words...
It's weird how Mike makes excuses on the one hand and derides them on another. I don't know what derides means, but I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating it how I see it. Is developer comes on camera and mentions gold standard. That's not a marketing thing, right? That's not a Jared going in front and saying, you know, these are decisions. You know, they didn't have a meeting and decide that we're going to communicate to the community team as, you know, this is how we're going to do things. A developer determines this is our gold standard rework, and then they say it. Deride is ridicule. I'm mostly ridiculing decisions made by the marketing team. Things said by Chris Roberts. Things said by Jared. People whose job is to communicate correctly the game to players, both new, old, and unpurchased, maybe deciding on a purchase, the right information that don't. If you can give an example where I haven't, and it's a game system, I've absolutely ridiculed Torsten's game design of mining. I haven't ridiculed Elliot too much on some things, but we've had conversations about, hey, this seems wrong or bad, or we could, this would be more fun this way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what you mean by all that, but it sounds like you're calling me somebody who can think clearly about something and isn't going to play one side or the other, is just going to say what they think about a given situation at a given time, and that my feelings can change over time, and that as new information comes in, I allow it to shape the way I think about a given subject like a normal fucking human being. I don't know.
Currently, the only thing that we have is an ad, and that is why
Or
I
I have
started calling
Stockholm
it
Syndrome?
Ad Citizen. They advertise it
Okay.
as a finished product.
You're a fucking
They
idiot.
promote it as a live service game, but they treat it as a tech demo that isn't even their main hustle. The truth is, CAG
having
is no
Stockholm
longer the
Syndrome.
same company as it was back in the day. It was progressively getting worse, and inch by inch, they have slipped into a funding model that looks like a funding model of any other AAA company out there, if not worse, especially considering
one
that
guide
the
again.
tickets for this year's CitizenCon are $200 and $300. And now some people would say that BlizzCon costs just as much. Yes, but the key difference is that Blizzard at least has something to show for themselves. Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, etc., etc. While CAG
And they also, I believe, have like legitimately good panels of, already finished games that have established communities, definitely Blizzard is a terrible company too, and has done lots of terrible things. But people really love BlizzCon because there's lots of shit to do there, right? Like, I believe BlizzCon has proven to its community that the ticket price is worth the price is worth the entry fee. Is that how you say it? Where CitizenCon has to prove it this year. I'm pretty sure. Like, that's where we're at right now. CitizenCon sets that dollar amount, and I think we all know that it's not going to be worth the price of admission. Thank you, Crazy Eye Carl. Something like that, right? I think we all know it's not going to be, but it's still up to them to prove it. I don't think we can really place judgment on the price of the ticket too much yet. I think it's still up to them to do it, but it is adding to that list of things that makes you be like, bro, what is going on here?
only has empty promises and failures. And in the end, the whole funding model with its pay to win and pay to progress or pay to not miss out or locking out the PTU behind
All
a
of the
paywall
above. Paid
got
all
me
of the
thinking
above.
that I don't really want to endorse, promote, or support this project anymore. If things change, yeah, sure, I'll be back. But I have a feeling that it's only going to get worse. But I need to uphold to my moral standards here and say enough is enough. And it really is this time. And will I miss it? Yes, I will. Because all I ever wanted was a realistic space adventure game. But unfortunately, Star Citizen is just a realistic waste of space. And the only adventure is dreaming of the
True.
game that it might be, that it might become.
Yep. He made the choice to make the thumbnails that he did, and people noticed those thumbnails, right? And you could clickbait, but he clickbaited quitting multiple times. The fact that people are going to bring that shit up. Sorry. There's no avoiding it. I think he understands that here at the end as well. Games and scams, like, I don't think being a Kira TV is somebody you're going to be able to compete with necessarily, but making content about video games that make you happy, that you think are cool, whatever, making content about video game releases. I think Detox is a really great example of, he made a second channel. It talks about Silica and other games that he really likes. I think the what is that bug game? I forgot. I think he's made like 5 or so videos at this point there, and they all do really well. So there you go. There's tons of cool things you can do. YouTube is amazing. And YouTube is something that you don't have to just talk about Star Citizen to have success in. And YouTube's a place that, you make a good thumbnail, you make a good title, and about something people are interested in, and something just happens, And I think Grumpy will be fine. He just has to, put a little more effort in and to learn other things, other games, so on and so forth. Star Citizen gets easy when you've been in the project for a while, because you can, pull on from your past experiences and things like that, where you can't do that with a new game. So you have to do a little bit more research for those. But other than that, he seems like he's up for it. He's got the skills in editing. He's got great audio. I think he's got a good sense of humor. For the most part, a good writer. There was one bad joke in there, but he'll be dealing. And especially at the casino, I just quit. They always come back, we say. It's like, I know I'm going to make it back there eventually, because they always do. It's funny. Like, everybody who leaves for like 5 years ends up making it back at some point. It says, thank you for the ride at the end there as well. I don't want to leave that part out. Oh, this is still going for a while. Hold on. There's a lot more to this. Is this just like a bunch of bugs here at the end? Let's see.
My apologies.
How did that happen?
What?
I dropped a used med pen.
Quick question, wasn't we one behind a paywall? Not entirely.
Yes.
If you played a lot, you make it in as well.
100% serious.
What is this? Is this just bugs? It just seems like it's just bugs and stuff.
Hey.
Anyway, I'm gonna link the channel. I'm gonna link the video, and obviously you're not gonna subscribe to him for Star Citizen stuff, but I think he showed that he can have some success with other games, and yeah, throw him a sub if you think you're interested in seeing what he's going to cover in the future. I really hope he starts covering things that he likes and talking about things that make him happy instead of talking about things that make him miserable.